I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. In my heart I have but one desire, and that one is you. No other will do. I've lost all ambition for worldly acclaim. I just want to be the one you love. And with your admission that you feel the same, I'll have reached the goal I'm dreaming of. Believe.
Monday night, and welcome everybody to another episode of the Table Spot. My name is Metal Mike, and I'm joined here, as always, with the Alpha himself, Sean, and the man with the best beard in the business, Mr. Cam G. Gentlemen, happy Monday night. How y'all doing? Cam, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. Another Monday Night Raw, another Monday here on the Table Spot. So yeah, I'm all right. Kind of a slow, long Monday. It felt like.
You're telling me.
I kind of agree with you on that one. It is kind of a slow Monday. It was weird. Like, I'm off on Mondays, and I was up at 8 a.m. today. I woke up pretty early today. It was a pretty slow Monday. It was weird.
That was the longest plane ride. Like, it felt like it took forever. Oh my God. And then it's super fucking hot. I'm so glad I wasn't here when Las Vegas was 120 degrees. But I'm here now. Toronto was amazing. Hung out with Shadow, as you know. We had fun. And depending if I should wait for my announcement for more people to come in here or...
Oh, before you do that, I'm just going to let everybody know, head over to Rivet City Radio's Twitch and Off Top Media, Rivet City Radio and Off Top Media's Twitch and YouTube channels. Hit that follow button, hit the subscribe button, turn your notifications on, check out all the great content going on throughout the network, throughout the week. The Table Spot tonight, NXT on tap tomorrow night. The Boom, led by Mr. Cam G himself, every Wednesday night right after AEW Dynamite. We got Boss Bitch Trivia. We got Friday Night Review. We got Botch Bots and Chair Shots. We got Rivet City Red Zone. We got so much content going on throughout the network. So make sure to head over to Rivet City Radio and Off Top Media's Twitch and YouTube channels. Hit that follow, subscribe, turn the notifications on. Check out everything going on. Plus, patreon.com/Rivet City Radio. Check out all the great content going on over on the Patreon. Got some great stuff going on over on the Patreon. So make sure to head over there. It will not break your bank. I promise you that. So, Sean, you messaged me. You said you had this announcement you want to do at the top of the show. Do it at the top of the show, please, because we're going to get into talking about Raw.
I know you're nervous. Nervous.
Number one, I am kind of nervous about this because you will not tell me. First off, I got to thank everybody who's coming in the chat. We got Mikey P. We got Uncensored. We got Boyfriend Time. We got Off the Top. So many people coming in through the chat. We got right now 23 live views going on right now. Appreciate everybody watching us here on the live. If you're not watching the live, we appreciate you watching the replay. If you're watching the replay, please do it now because we're going to get talking about Raw, and we got so much to talk about tonight.
Yeah,
so
I understand. So, boys, I've been here for a year now, and I just want to say,
Al, what's up? You join us? Well,
I have one thing to say, so I'm gonna just one sec.
I don't know what's happening.
I don't know. This is the thing, Cam, and it's honestly,
Now I'm
if
scared.
he's got 30 seconds. Then we're going to talk about Raw because we need to get into talking about Raw, and that's that. That's what I'm giving him because there's no revealing what this is, okay? And we got a job to do, and that's that. So we're going to start talking about Raw if he doesn't get into this. So
It's
I'm
Tiffy time! Tiffy time! Oh, you can't even see it, but Tiffy in the bank, baby!
Man.
I told y'all. Y'all thought I was going to come to this show without mentioning this?
okay.
Come on.
Cam, I'm going to let you vote this. I have a video that I'm allowed to play because I got the okay to play this video just in case. This is kind of like my one in the chamber type of deal. So, should I play it?
Sure.
Because this is kind of he came in here, did this. This is kind of that whole one-upsmanship type of deal.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Because, listen, you come on a table spot and you're going to try and one-up. Okay? I'm going to try and one-up on you.
What's up,
So
Mike?
let's get in the chat. Let's take the vote in the chat. Cam, you give the vote in the chat. Okay, put the number 1. Please put the number 1 if you want me to play the video. And if I get at least 3 number 1s, I'll play it. 1, 2.
That was
3.
quick.
Oh man,
That was quick.
This is chat 1, 1, 1, 1,
That was
1,
quick.
1, 1. So before we get into the Raw talk, because we got to get into Monday Night Raw, we got the 1. And I got the okay to play this video, so it's happening. And Sean's in this video too.
I know what video you're talking
So
about.
here we
Go
go.
ahead, play it. You think I care?
It's
Play
7
it.
seconds long. I'm playing this thing.
Stop. Stop this. Stop it.
Good shot.
Stop. What the fuck? It's not the video I thought I was going to play.
Oh, I got more.
Oh, yeah?
I got more. It just depends on how the show goes tonight. And it takes me 30 seconds to upload. It will not take me long.
It's fine, because, Tiffy still miss Tiffy time in the bank. So
now that we got that out of the way, we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw.
hold on, Will. I am never in check, okay? I don't give a fuck.
You guys ready to get in some Raw talk? Let's talk about Monday Night Raw. We got to talk about Monday Night Raw. Guys, Monday Night Raw took place in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada tonight. Home of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, home of NXT Heat Wave. Well, Heat Wave and Money in the Bank took place in Toronto. And tonight, Monday Night Raw was in Ottawa, Ontario. Thank you, everybody, for coming in tonight. Appreciate you guys being here in the chat. You guys are awesome. We love you. Appreciate you. We got a 3-month subscriber. This is amazing. Thank you guys for coming in tonight. But guys, we're going to get into the Monday Night Raw talk. And we had some pretty big stuff happen tonight. Some pretty big stuff happened tonight. And we're going to kick it off by talking about the return of one Miss Rhea Ripley. Mommy is back. And your guys, what was your first reaction seeing Mommy come back? Cam, are you happy to see Mommy back?
Actually, now I'm kind of kicking myself because I didn't watch the main event, so I missed this. But this is good news. This is this is good to know. So obviously, we have this storyline starting to finally take shape between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. But yeah, I mean,
hope.
I'm glad to see her back because, like I said, been saying it for weeks now. That this is the bread and butter of this whole feud is between her and Liv. So
yeah,
glad to see it.
Hope Division's in the chat.
I actually left. So here's the funny thing is I was watching it and I left my room because I went to go ask my mom. I was like, hey, do you want to go to an Eagles preseason game? And I come back into my room and it was to her coming out. And I was like, oh my God, Oh my God. I lost my stuff. I did. I am so excited to see her back. I know it's going to be a little bit of time till we see her in the ring again. I get it. It's going to be some time. But just to see her back on screen, the first time since the Raw after Mania, or the Raw, 2 Raws after Mania, and she dropped the Women's World Championship, was, it's just great to see her. Hope, thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for joining us for the table spot. Sean, your reactions to Mommy being back?
I was like, oh shit. Like, I mean, it was kind of like expected, but unexpected. You know what I mean? Like, because we saw Damien earlier on the phone with somebody, and then we weren't sure, but then she's out here, and then fucking Dom is all like trying to hug her now, and she's like, nah, bitch. Nah. You with that bitch now. Like, great.
Well,
I can't wait for SummerSlam.
Well, Rhea Ripley is back. I mean, it's not fully clear that she's going to be there for Summer. It's not fully clear that she's going to be in ring for SummerSlam. It's not. We don't know the extent of how long she is out with this injury. It's just great to see her back on TV. Tonight was enough to keep this storyline going. And by all means, like, I'm not getting sick of this storyline. I'm liking this storyline between the Judgment Day and Liv Morgan. I'm liking it. I'm enjoying it. It's a good storyline. And to keep it alive without us not even having to see Rhea Ripley or hear from Rhea Ripley, now we have her there. Now things are going to get heated up, which is great. We got Will in the chat. He said that he did not see the first 2 hours of Raw tonight. So, gentlemen, I know what we were going to change things up a little bit and talk about the main things of Monday Night Raw, but we're going to run down Raw as we normally would, and that is run down segment by segment. Give Will a little bit of a refresher of what happened on Raw tonight since he didn't see it. So we kicked things off with CM Punk coming out, opening up Raw, cutting a promo, and he thanked John Cena and congratulated him on his retirement. John Cena announced his retirement at Money in the Bank on Saturday. We're still going to see him in the ring. He's mentioned it. He's going to be at the Royal Rumble. He wants to be at WrestleMania. He talked about being at other PLEs, pretty much having one last match at certain PLEs and everything like that, or doing something at certain PLEs. But CM Punk thanked him. He said he would like to be in the ring with him at least one more time. And then he mentioned about the fines that him and Drew McIntyre faced after what unfolded on Saturday at Money in the Bank. As we've seen it, Drew McIntyre won Money in the Bank. He then, about an hour later, cashed it in, turning the World Championship match into a triple threat. And then CM Punk came out and pretty much stopped that. And cheers, Will. And CM Punk got fined $25,000. Drew McIntyre got fined about $50,000. But not only that, Drew McIntyre ended up, and we've seen the video, Drew McIntyre elbowed Adam Pearce in the face. Now, you see the video. Obviously, Drew wasn't looking back. He got suspended for what he did, too. So he talked about that, and you hear CM Punk say, he wants Drew McIntyre's suspension lifted. He wants to fight Drew McIntyre. And the funny thing is, he says either Jack Tunney, Adam Pearce, whoever. We all know who Jack Tunney is. A little funny little joke there by CM Punk to lift it. And then we got Seth Rollins coming out. And Seth Rollins was not happy. And Punk told him that he understands that Seth Rollins is mad at him for what he did. In a way, he screwed him out of the world title too. And then he apologized, but doesn't really mean the apology too much because the problems that him and Punk have, that Seth and Punk have. So, gentlemen, your thoughts on this promo. Sean, we'll start with you. Your thoughts on this whole promo.
To be honest, I missed like half of his promo out of the ring, in the ring, because I got home and USA Network was completely fucking up, and I had to restart my TV, just so the app would work. So I missed this whole complete promo, and it came back to when Seth Rollins was on yelling at Punk about something. I missed it, so I don't know. I can't tell you.
Okay. Cam, your thoughts on this promo?
It was a good way to kick off Raw, obviously, and great to see CM Punk back once again. Not a whole lot here. I think without Drew being on this program, obviously because he's suspended or whatever, they can't. There's only so much they can really do with progressing the story. Of course, then you get Seth Rollins to come out. That makes sense, obviously, because Seth was obviously, basically collateral damage in, CM Punk screwing Drew McIntyre out of the World Championship. So, of course, Seth Rollins is pissed off. I think Seth kind of won this battle of wits here. CM Punk is usually pretty razor sharp on the mic. I think Seth Rollins tonight got the better end of the exchange on the mic. I'm a little upset that CM Punk did not say like, I'm the center. You're saying that I'm want the world to revolve around me, but you call Monday Night Rollins.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you want the world to revolve around you, not the other way around. But other than that, though, I mean, it's great. I don't know where we go from here. I think, him and Seth obviously are going to have a match somewhere down the line. Probably not anytime soon, just because the Drew and CM Punk match has to happen first. This has been so much buildup. This has been the best buildup for a feud in a while. I think we haven't really seen this kind of a buildup to a feud since maybe, I don't know, Triple H and Shawn. I think, where you genuinely get like they genuinely hate each other. Like they can't stand each other for a single second. And I love it. So, and I can't wait till we get that match. And I don't even know what kind of match they're going to eventually have, because it's got to be something unique, because it has to fit just all this rage and all this hatred towards one another. It's got to be something violent to fit that feud right now. So, but other than that, this feud was, I mean, this promo was great. I love CM Punk being on. First of all, I love seeing Pat McAfee back, obviously, on commentary. And then secondly, I love seeing when Seth's music hit, CM Punk just he just got frustrated, just got out of the ring, was on commentary or whatever. I thought that was great too. So yeah, everything about this was good, and I just love the fact that they have a path for CM Punk. It's not just like the Drew thing is going to be a one-off, and then it's just like what's next. You got the Seth thing waiting in the background. So I love how they're building two different storylines at once.
Well, I mean, to tie in with this segment, we did a couple segments later get Adam Pearce talking to CM Punk in the back, and CM Punk again was continuing his pretty much asking Adam Pearce, saying like, hey, can you just like lift this? I want to fight him. Like, and Adam Pearce told him like, stay home next week. Let me talk to Drew. Let me see if he's calmed down. Let's see if we can get some professionalism out of him, and I'll make my decision, next week or in the next coming weeks. And we'll go from there. So CM Punk agreed to stay home next week while Drew McIntyre talks to Adam Pearce. And, maybe next week we get Drew McIntyre suspension lifted. I think we do. Because CM Punk has got to be close to coming back, which is going to lead us into SummerSlam in the first Saturday of August. So, I mean, we'll have to see next week. We'll have to see next week. But Seth Rollins, I mean, again, he was kind of the casualty of what happened on Saturday. He was, and now he doesn't get to face Damian Priest while he's world champion. But they have a mutual respect for each other. And that's going to be my next question for you guys is, your thoughts on this mutual respect between Seth Rollins. We've seen it in the back. Seth Rollins saying, look, none of your guys came out, none of your guys interfered. And you not only kept your word, but you proved out in that ring that you could do things on your own. And the respect was there. The handshake was there. Your guys' thoughts on that? Could we? I really don't know if I want to ask the fact of seeing Seth Rollins work at the Judgment Day. I don't think we're going to see that. But there's now this newfound respect that Seth Rollins has for Damian Priest. So do you guys have any thoughts on that? Cam, we'll start with you.
I don't think so. I think it's just so much more so Seth, I guess honoring what they had agreed on. Um it was a bit weird because for me it's like, Seth kind of said like, I'll honor my agreement and say that, I won't come after you for the championship, but I was like, you couldn't anyway because that was already the stipulation anyways. So even if you wanted to go after Damien again for the world title, you couldn't because that was already implied in said match if you lost, regardless of how you lost. So it was weird how he made it sound like it was his decision not to go after him when that's not the case. But anyways, but no, I think it's just a mutual respect thing between the two of them. They went to war. They had a great match, I think. Great cash in from Drew, regardless of how it turned out. That's only the second time in history that we've seen a match then turn into a triple threat with the cash in.
Yep.
So again, great stuff there. And it's just a mutual respect thing. I don't think Seth's working with Damien or Judgment Day. I don't see that happening. If anything, he's probably going to work with Drew because he hates CM Punk so much. But yeah, so it's just a mutual respect thing, regardless.
And as you mentioned, if you remember in history, Seth Rollins involved in both cash-ins turned into triple threats. He cashed in Money in the Bank, WrestleMania 31, and won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And now he was in a world title match on Saturday, and he lost in that one. So he's 1-1 when it comes to cash-ins turned into triple threat matches. So Sean, any thoughts on this newfound respect between Damian Priest and Seth Rollins?
I like it. Starting the babyface turn for Damien. And I like that they called out the gentleman's agreement. So there's not really there's a workaround with that they got through, which is nice. I still see Damien losing to Gunther no matter what. But I like it. I don't think he's necessarily going to work with the Judgment Day, but maybe here and there, just, hey, CM Punk's an issue,
Oh, I mean, the only way that CM Punk would be an issue is if the fact of CM Punk getting involved with the Judgment Day. And right now, he's too far away from Judgment Day. His main focus is Drew McIntyre. So if CM Punk were to become an issue for the Judgment Day at any way, shape, or form time, then would Seth Rollins get involved? Maybe. Could happen. You're right on that. So we'll have to see. But there was a kind of like a trending theme going on tonight up until we got to the Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker situation. And that was the respect thing. First, we've seen CM Punk kind of apologize to Seth Rollins. Then we seen Damian Priest and Seth Rollins shake hands. And then for a moment, you're thinking Braun Breaker's coming out and showing his respect to Sami Zayn because he's the first person to beat him on Monday Night Raw. And that turned real quick. So, real quick, there was a thing in the chat I wanted to bring up, and it kind of got I had it up. I want Cam's beard to fight Sean the way CM Punk wants to fight Drew. Now, I got my money on Cam's beard. I'm just saying.
I don't know where he comes up with this stuff.
I mean, it was kind of funny, and I got my money on Cam's beard.
I'll use a razor, the electric razor.
I think Cam can dodge it. Again, I got my money on Cam's beard. So, but yeah, I mean, the whole sign of respect thing trend was kind of going on until we got Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn in the ring, and that changed real quick. And Braun Breaker saying to Sami Zayn, I lost to you. I'm not going to be out here asking for an Intercontinental title shot. And then he turned around and just speared the hell out of him. And that was it. Braun Breaker is definitely going after Sami Zayn and the Intercontinental Championship. And I don't know about you guys, but I think we're going to see it as soon as SummerSlam. Sean, do you think we're going to see it as soon as SummerSlam?
Yep, I think so. I wanted him to win at Money in the Bank, but obviously things needed to happen to secure, a certain somebody winning Money in the Bank for me.
God, I got to take a Motrin.
Tiffy time.
You're giving me a headache. I really got to take a Motrin. Oh my God. Cam, do you have any thoughts on Sami Zayn? You know, the thing that's on course tonight, Monday Night Raw, Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, obviously, they have. I think Braun Breaker obviously is not done with Sami Zayn. I do think they're going to have another match probably at SummerSlam. But like I said though, this time around there's got to be some kind of stipulation involved. No holds barred, false count anywhere, tables match, whatever, ladder match, something of that nature, just to spice it up. Especially since it's SummerSlam. It's one of their big pay-per-views. It's the second time we've done this match now. So so they just gotta have some kind of stipulation behind it, obviously. And I do think this, hopefully, I would say this is where Braun Breaker eventually then does beat Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. So this is just the teaser to set up for part 2 for them.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when we did our prediction show back on Tuesday, and if you guys missed the prediction show, go back over to I believe we streamed that on Off the Top Media's YouTube channel and Twitch channel. Head over there and check out the replay of our prediction show. Even though it was a prediction show for a pay-per-view, still entertaining. Head over there. I mentioned on there that I felt like Braun Breaker wasn't going to win it this time around, but I could see it happening as soon as SummerSlam. Like, this was kind of the pre, like, it was a match, obviously, but it was like the precursor to get Braun Breaker to that point, if that makes sense. Like, this was, okay, this is his first title match on the main roster. Sami Zayn, he had to have a little bit of a longer title reign. SummerSlam, and we see it in history, and we see it in the past where, somebody would win a championship at, let's say, WrestleMania. They'd have a good 5-6 month run with it till SummerSlam, and then there's a time that they turn it over to somebody else. It happens. We've seen it in the past. And that's why I said I could see it happening around SummerSlam. So, say his name and he appears. So we've seen Dominic Mysterio talking to Adam Pearce backstage. Now, guys, we talked about at the beginning of the show. We've seen Mommy come back. There's a reason why she came back. Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan tagged up tonight to take on Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega. Now, Dominic Mysterio all night was trying to get out of this. All night. Liv Morgan talked him into this, saying like, hey, pretty much give this a shot. Let's do this. Let's go out there. Let's work as a team. And we've seen the backstage segments. Liv said, let's go strategize. They go backstage. We pretty much got a Triple H Trish Stratus moment tonight. You guys remember that moment? When Trish Stratus, Triple H tagged them up? Yeah, we kind of got that tonight.
I didn't think of it like that, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That first thing that came to mind when that moment happened. Triple H and Trish Stratus. And now that Mommy's back, do we see Liv Morgan get as close to the Judgment Day as she's been? Or do you think Rhea Ripley is back for good? Like, are we going to see her moving forward? Sean, you're ready to say something. Go for it.
I was just going to say, y'all hear what Carlito said? When that happened? Like, Damian Priest was telling, what's his face? Dominic was like, it's not that hard to get away from her. And Carlito goes, I don't know, looks pretty hard to me. Fucking Carlito, bro.
That's hilarious.
Cam, do you have any thoughts? Please.
Oh man.
Save us.
So what do you mean when you say do we see her get
Like she's been really close to the Judgment Day. We've seen her in the locker rooms. We've seen
Mhm.
her going up to Dom just sporadically. She's been around Finn Balor sporadically. Do you think we see Liv Morgan around the Judgment Day as much now, or do you think this is the point where we see her kind of be breaking away, but still like in the shadows, basically close by?
Oh no, I think we see her. I think we see her more involved, if anything, if that's even possible. I think now that Rhea's back, I think she's going to be realistically, just taunting Rhea Ripley any chance she gets. She's going to be backstage in a lair with Judgment Day, and she's going to walk in there and be like, "Why are you still here?" Like, what I mean? So she's literally going to be, antagonizing Rhea Ripley any chance that she can get. And I think Rhea's she's coming back on a tear. She's going to be pissed at just not only just Dom, but just everyone. Finn, JD, Carlito, like everybody, you know. And I think she's going to want to take back that control, and I think that you're going to see a rift between her and Priest, because Priest again has been kind of like, the sergeant of this group, barking out orders since she's been gone. So now that she's back, she's probably going to be the one to try to get everyone together and try to sort of, resume her role that she had in the Judgment Day before she got injured. And that's gonna, I think, cause issues with Damien. Like, wait a second, I'm the one in charge now. Like, you've been gone long enough, but since you've been gone, like, I've been the leader now. Like, you need to step back a little bit. So yeah, it's gonna just stir things up even more, I think, with the Judgment Day. So but yeah, again, once again, this is all just a big build up until we get, her and Liv again. So, and I can't wait, because I've been waiting for this for a while.
I mean, there's like that big hope of Rhea Ripley being released. I mean, not released, cleared from injury by SummerSlam. There's that big like hope that she is. But if she's not, I'm going to say this right now, that the next PLE that would be perfect for those two to be facing off is on October 5th. And that's in Georgia at Bad Blood. Because this rivalry fits that title. I mean, not only do we have the whole bloodline with Cody and Kevin Owens and Randy Orton over on SmackDown, but we also got, Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn, who have some bad blood. Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley have bad blood. Drew McIntyre, CM Punk. I mean, this PLE coming back could fit for so many storylines and matches, potential matches right now going on both Raw and SmackDown. So if we were not to get Rhea Ripley back for SummerSlam, would it be safe to say that October 5th would be the next best night for a match?
It definitely fits the name of the show for sure. So I wouldn't mind it.
Sean?
I wouldn't mind it either.
Okay. I'm just hyped for Rhea Ripley to be back. You guys know how much of a fan of her I am. And to get her back in the ring and getting that world title back around her waist or over her shoulder or in her hand, I'm ready for it. So, what?
I'm laughing at Shadow.
Oh. Yeah, it's pretty funny in the chat tonight. It is pretty funny and
Well,
fun.
it's not Carlito, anyways. It's Carlito mentioning Dominic.
Yeah, but it's your thought.
I thought it was funny.
It's what's running in your mind right now.
I thought it was funny. Carlito's doing comedy.
Okay. We had a couple matches tonight on Monday Night Raw, gentlemen.
No.
First one was what?
I'm talking to Shadow. No. Listen, the story is he went up to a fucking Toronto cop security at the arena said I touched his pee-pee. The Toronto cop just fucking laughed at him. I was like, no, you're not. I'm a fucking American here. Hope, stop. Don't encourage him. No.
Hold on, Hope.
Don't
So this is what you've seen, but in reverse roles, right?
Stop this. Stop it.
Good shot.
Stop.
That's what you've seen in reverse roles, right? What happened? She said yes.
Oh man.
Y'all need to stop. No, y'all need to stop.
Oh man.
Guys, we had a couple matches tonight. Jey Uso took on Chad Gable. This wasn't a bad match. Not a bad match till the lights went out. Lights went out, and Jey Uso went running. He ran for the hills. And then out popped Nikki Cross, Sister Abigail, whatever we're calling her right now. Whatever we're calling her right now. And she handed over a box to Michael Cole. The last couple weeks, it's been a video. Just a videotape. Tonight, it was a box. And before we get into the video, our newest video to talk about with the Wyatt Six, we're going to talk about Chad Gable. Chad Gable left the ring scared for his life.
Yeah, so did fucking Jey Uso. That man,
Jay ran for the hills when the lights first went out. And I mentioned that. If you didn't hear me mention it, Sean, I said Jey Uso ran for the hills. It's saying. But Chad Gable ran for the hills too. But you heard a fan yell, "Watch out behind you." And the first thing I did was, what is behind him? Nothing was behind him, obviously. Now, we've seen Chad Gable run to Adam Pearce and sit there, say to him, like, you know, look at this. They're after me. You know, what are you going to do about this? And Adam Pearce was like, what makes you think they're after you? What really makes you think they're after you? Now, we're going to talk about the video because in the box was a video. We're going to get into that in a few moments. Okay. We're going to cover Chad Gable. Chad Gable, the past couple months going after the Intercontinental Championship. What's up, Tommy? Thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate you. Past couple months, we've seen Chad Gable join forces with Sami Zayn, turn on Sami Zayn, go after the Intercontinental Championship, failed multiple times, then rival with Jey Uso, going to Money in the Bank, didn't win Money in the Bank, got scared multiple times, even taken out by the Wyatt Six during the debut. And he thinks they are currently going after him completely. And Adam Pearce said to him, why do you think they're going after you completely? And Gable says to him, I see how this is. After the year I've been having, after I deal with this, I'm going on a vacation. Whatever that means, we don't know. I'm sure we'll find out in the future. But then as Adam Pearce opens his door, there sits Taylor. Guys, Chad Gable right now, do you believe that Chad Gable is the spot on target for the Wyatt Six at the moment? Sean, we'll start with you.
Yes and no. It seems like they're only coming out when Chad Gable's out there, so yes. Also, we have no idea what the fuck their motives are. We don't know. So all of it is just speculation right now.
Cam.
So to be honest with you, I think I liked seeing, you know, Bo, Taylor, whatever he's going by now, sitting in the office of Adam Pearce. I think to me that, well, number one, it brings more the reality to the you know, the realism of you know behind the mask, behind the character, and he's actually in a physical setting rather than just another tape, and it's all these mysterious, eerie, theatrics and things of that nature, which have been great. Don't get me wrong, but this brings more of the realism side to it. Like he's actually still, a contracted talent on the roster. He's still an active member of the roster as a wrestler, performer, whatever. If I had to guess what that was about, he's probably requesting a match with Chad Gable, and this was, and I have predicted before, that I think you're going to finally get, because obviously I think Uncle Howdy is going to be the first person out of this group that gets in the ring first.
Yeah.
Out of everyone else, and I think that happens at SummerSlam. I think you're going to get Chad Gable versus Uncle Howdy at SummerSlam, and I think that's what that was about. And it just makes sense to have Chad Gable there outside the office, and then of course Taylor is inside the office of Adam Pearce. So I liked it. Like I said again, I liked it better than the tape we got tonight. So yeah, it's interesting stuff for sure.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're gonna get into the video in a little bit, and this was a very interesting video. The reason why I wanted to save the talk about the video until the end of talking about Raw is because we had a very big discussion about the tapes last week, and I feel like we're going to have more of one tonight. So we will talk about the tapes in a little bit here. I could definitely see Chad Gable being the first match. The question lies of whether we're going to see it be just Taylor, or is it going to be Uncle Howdy? Because we kind of got, and you see the video, you see Uncle Howdy, but in the office, you just see Taylor. He's not in the Uncle Howdy, mask or coat or anything. So could this almost be like Taylor doing what Bray did with The Fiend? We've seen Bray wrestle in the vest and the khakis and everything like that, and then when he brought the Fiend out, he brought the Fiend out. Could this be almost the same thing, but done different? Could you see it being that?
I mean, it's very possible. Unpopular opinion, I'm sure. I really don't want to see him wrestle in a mask. Again, like I said, I want something a little bit different, something a little bit more. Again, like I said, I keep using that word, but something more real, something more that's not so. Like, gone are the days of these dark, eerie characters of like Kane, and he's wrestling in a full-fledged mask. And even he said himself, like after years of doing that, he started to hit like a ceiling, and there was only but so much you could do with the mask. And then they started cutting it back, so now you can see his mouth and you can sort of see more of his facial expression. So they just got rid of the mask completely. Some people say that took away, his main, I don't know, his main aesthetic, or his main, trait, or vibe, I guess, to the character. I think it kind of helped him, because at least in the early goings it did. I think creative direction is just what kind of derailed him, but overall, I like seeing more of there's power behind the facial expressions, and that's what was great about like early Undertaker. He was like a freaking zombie, but still his facial expressions, or lack thereof, just made the character even more scary. So the Fiend was great, but he really had to bring the violence physically, because you can't really see his facial expressions that he's making because he's wrestling in a full mask. So I really don't want to see. I really wouldn't want to see him wrestle in a mask and kind of just like double. It'd be okay if he comes out wearing the mask in the whole get up, but once the bell rings, he takes the mask off, and then he just has like, I don't know, like makeup on, contacts. That's fine, cool. You're keeping that character going even without the mask on. But I would like to see who he is without the mask. You know what I mean?
So,
he's kind of doubling both him being Taylor and Uncle Howdy.
So I'm sorry for cutting you off, but like almost like he can take the mask off and have basically like maybe black paint on,
Yeah.
and then like bright, I don't know, maybe greenish, maybe yellow, something bright
Mhm.
contacts.
Yeah.
I'd be down for that, actually. That's not a bad idea. Sean, what do you think? Do you think that would be a good deal for Taylor to do with the Uncle Howdy character? Once we start seeing the in-ring, take the mask off, wear the black face paint, put some contacts in, kind of give us that. It would almost be like an inner being taking over his human form.
I'm a mask guy. I like the mask.
Now, I wanted to say this, Cam, because you gave me a good thought here. Was like you mentioned with Kane, and so many wrestlers can pull off the mask thing. Obviously, Kane was able to do it. You know, Undertaker, when he had a broken nose or whatever, when he had to wear that mask for a short period of time, he was able to pull it off. You know, Bray, he was able to pull off because the Fiend mask was an expression of its own. Like that was just an expression of its own. But then you get some characters that wore masks and it really didn't work. Now, yeah, we get like Lucha Libre wrestlers that wear masks. You can still kind of see their facial expressions, you know, in their eyes, and you know, if you could see their mouth, you could see it. But even Lucha Libre wrestlers that wear full masks, they sell it with their body motions. They want to do. You know what I mean? And some wrestlers can pull it off. Some, sadly enough, can't. And like you said, we're getting like the Dark Aura characters. I mean, we've got so many of them right now today. We got, you know, the Wyatt Six. We got, you know, over in AEW, we got the House of Black. You know, we got what's his name? I just lost my my thought of who I was talking about. Any case, you know where I'm getting to with this.
Mhm.
Certain people can pull it off. You know what I mean? So we'll have to see, because I can go. I would go for that. I would go for them. Not even the rest of the characters not wearing masks. Like obviously we know who they are, but do something like wearing a face paint and putting contacts in. You know what I mean? Doing that would go a long way. So, but let's get into the video. I took some notes on this video, and I know we're probably going to get into a pretty deep discussion. It wasn't a long video, but there was talks about the family being forgotten. And Taylor said that he thanks Howdy for not forgetting them and for giving them a purpose. Also said that he's happy that he remembers them and that they begged for mercy as the buzzards were circling them. That's the first comment that I'd like to talk about. Likes to thank them after they begged for mercy while the buzzards were circling them. Your thoughts on what that first saying meant. Sean, what did you think that first saying meant of them begging for mercy as the buzzards circled them?
I really have no idea. I can't even tell you. That's a riddle me this kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like,
okay. Cam, what do you think that meant?
I really haven't had time to really dissect everything that was said in this particular video. But I mean, just off the just off the top of my head, I guess maybe that means I'm not sure. Who knows? Maybe each member had to go through some sort of I don't know, initiation process to even be, considered to take up the helm of continuing the legacy of Bray Wyatt. I don't know, something of that nature. Maybe they had to go through some sort of dark, transition period with each of their characters, and in order to take on, what they're doing right now. So that's the best I got from that. So
All right. So before I give my thoughts, real quick, Sean's gonna head out. He's feeling a little jet lag, not feeling too good. We're gonna shout him
This
out. Real
cold,
quick.
this cold is
Social
kicking my
media,
ass. Sorry, guys.
social media's on the bottom. Make sure to follow turn on your notifications, subscribe to everything that Sean is doing on social media. All his socials are on the bottom. Real quick, do you want to let anybody know anything before you head out?
If I feel better by Thursday, Rebellion Wrestling will be back on my personal Twitch. If not, I'll send out a tweet, Instagram, stuff like that. Right now, this cold is kicking my ass. This heat is kicking my ass. And I just wanted to make sure I was here for the boys. And sorry, guys. I just jet lag.
You're good.
So I'll see you guys next week. Kick ass, guys. And love y'all.
Switch things out around here. All right. So what I got from the whole buzzards circling after they begged for mercy as the buzzards circled them, what I got from them was we are looking at, obviously, again, we kind of have an idea on who these characters are. Nikki Cross, Joe Gacy, Taylor, Eric Redbeard, and I'm missing one. Who am I missing?
Joe Gacy,
Joe Gacy, Nikki Cross, Eric Redbeard, Taylor, and I'm missing one more.
Yeah, I can't. I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name though.
Okay. Well, to continue this thought, my thought on this was: you look at these characters, Eric Redbeard, okay, gone from WWE. We've seen him a couple times in AEW, especially during Brody's tribute show. We've seen him during Bray's tribute show. Okay, we've seen him a couple times. Dexter Lumis.
Dexter Lumis. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your help. Dexter Lumis, okay? We've seen him. Dexter Lumis, obviously, released. Nikki Cross. She did the whole superhero thing. Then she came back, started doing the whole, like, not talking thing, kind of just, like, shut down from the world, but still kind of, winning the 24/7 title, threw the title away. She was in a battle royal, last time we seen her, she was in a battle royal, got eliminated, she was gone. Taylor, Bo Dallas, did all the stuff he did. Gone. We knew he was Uncle Howdy when Uncle Howdy first got introduced to us. But then since then, nothing. These are superstars that were basically released, forgotten about, gone. This is almost like the buzzards were circling them, circling their careers. They begged for mercy. And now they're a part of this family. That's what I'm getting from it. And by all means, that's not me trying to make them sound weak, because it doesn't. It doesn't. I look at this as this is a resurgence for them. Because the very little that I've seen of Joe Gacy in NXT blew my mind. Loved him. Dexter Lumis, loved him. Nikki Cross, huge fan of hers. Eric Redbeard, huge fan of him. Taylor, I was a fan of everything he did. The B team, the whole I believe, everything. Loved it. Strength and weakness. Jamie got it right. He's hit it right on the nose. Strength and weakness. That's what I got from it. So, next line was that it's time to set the captive free, so they need no master. Now, you said that you really didn't get to dig too deep into what these meetings were. So when you hear that line, just off the top of your head, now I know later on in the week, you'll probably give it some more thought, Cam, and head over to Cam's Wrestling Corner. He might release a video there. Check it out. Everything. I'm sure you'll give it more thought. You'll probably make a video on it. I don't know. That's up to you. But right off the top of your head right now, when you hear that line, set the captive free so they need no master. What do you get from that? Just from you.
So to me, it kind of sounded more like as if he's pretty much opening the doors to the insane asylum essentially, and he's just kind of letting these other members in this group kind of just run wild. They don't really need. He's taking up the role as leader, but I guess this is like, kind of like him saying they don't really need me because they all have their own individual purpose within the group, within this family. That's kind of what I'm getting from that. So, yeah.
That's fair. Because I kind of had the same thought when I first heard it. It's almost like saying he's going to lead, like show them the way, but when they get to a certain point, he's going to let them go. He's going to let them do their thing. It's almost like a method to raising them to the madness that's about to be released. So same frame of thought. I'm with you on that one. The other line was, if sick is what you want us to be, then sick we will be. Sick is what you want us to be, then sick we will be.
That particular line, it kind of doubles. Obviously it's a play on words because of the why it's 6 and the way it's spelled.
Not the number 6.
Exactly.
SICS. Yep.
Right. So it's kind of a play on words with the way that their name is spelled. And I also think that this is kind of him saying like I guess kind of leaning into the perception that they may be getting from viewers as like these guys are weirdos or these guys are sickos or whatever, and it's like, okay, if you think that's what we are, then that's what you're gonna get. So
I'm feeling the same way on that right now. It's like you're looking at us like you hear Michael Cole saying this weird thing. Like there's that pause of weird thing. Last week it was this Carrie like figure. This week it was just this weird thing. It would not surprise me if Michael Cole at some point becomes a general target just of Nikki Cross's. Because of the little things that he says just about her. Because you notice when they talk about the White Six, he doesn't say any other comments about any of the other members but her. Now, to be fair, she's the only one that he sees. She's the only one walking up to the announce table, handing videos and boxes and stuff to them. But I know we always say like all the little things don't always mean something, but for some reason, I feel like Michael Cole is going to become a victim to Nikki Cross in some way, shape, or form.
he could be used as like their I guess like their messenger. Like he like they're
Like
always like she's always giving him these boxes with these tapes in them. So anytime they have like a message for the WWE universe, I think he's going to be the primary person that they always go to say like, hey, here's another message or here's another tape or whatever. That's what I could see.
I was gonna say something, but I don't wanna bring up the bad aura of what we got. What I was gonna say. The anonymous general manager.
Oh no, Jesus Christ. No, I hope not. I hope not. That was no. Let's not go back to those days. Please, let's not go back to those days. Those are awful. I don't care what anybody says.
Man. Just as long as he's not doing something like that for them, I
No.
think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
I think we'll be okay. And I don't think they would do that.
No.
They know in this day and age how much flack they would catch if they went and did something like that with this group.
So much
Because you
fun.
got to imagine, Cam, back in 2012, 2013, when that was happening, or earlier than that, when that was happening, we didn't have social media the way we have it today. We didn't. We may have had, Facebook and Instagram in its early days, Twitter in its early days. Do you remember Tout? So
yeah,
Tout,
it wasn't big though. I don't think it was. Not really.
WWE tried to push that thing so much.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Oh,
about Tao. Yeah,
dude.
yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh my God. Tout.
Yeah.
I actually was a member of that. I actually used that. I did. And it was so funny because the superstar they used to push that hard was The Miz.
Of course.
And what's
Naturally.
really funny is he would respond to fans on there.
Oh wow.
And he responded to a few of my posts. He did. And I wish I still had it today. I do. I wish I did. I truly wish I did. But it doesn't exist anymore. So tout is just a word now. That's all it is now. It's an existing word to tout out on your social medias. But back on track, I don't think they would put Michael Cole in the position to do the whole like what they did with the anonymous general manager thing with the White Six. I think it's going to be a totally different role. I could see him being somewhat of a mouthpiece for them to kind of pass the message along to show people like, the thing is he's getting these videos and then it's like, oh, we're going to send it back to the truck for the truck to play. It's like, well, then why don't they go to somebody that's like, I get it. You want to bring them into the arena and you want to give that aura of in arena. But why don't you do something backstage to where you can make it a little more theatrical, a little more bigger than what it is? Like when we got the debut of them, you seen Gorilla Position was all it was a riot. It was a mess. And it led us out to the arena. And now these past couple weeks we're getting, Nikki handing just videotapes to Michael Cole only for him to send to the back. Why not set something up theatrical in the back with somebody that can play the tape? Opposed to putting Michael Cole in the position, because honestly, like I said earlier, my thought now is Michael Cole is going to be somewhat of a target for Nikki Cross. But at the end of the video, we got Taylor pretty much having the face of all the characters pop out. What I got from that was almost like all these characters connecting into one being, and that is Uncle Howdy. Almost like all these characters are just an extension. You know what I mean? Easiest way of putting this is if you watched the Power Rangers when you were younger, you got the big like Megazord, and you had all the extensions of all the other Power Rangers, and they all came together. It's the easiest way I'm going to put it right now. Not trying to be funny with it, but that's the easiest way I could put it right now. That's what I'm kind of getting from it.
That's
What
an
do you?
interesting way of looking at it. I mean,
I mean, what are you getting from it? What do you? How would you look at that? Like, what do you get from that? That visual.
well, it's interesting because of the fact that, you know, uh the the two videos we got before this, you kind of seen, uh you know, you see Taylor's face, and then it's kind of like glitching back and forth between like his face and then like Uncle Howdy, and he's got the mask on or whatever.
Yeah.
So you kind of got that this week, but with the other characters. So you see them with their mask on, and then you kind of see, you know, brief shots of them without their mask on. So with that, to me, again, you are showing who they are in this group, what role they somewhat play, what character I guess they play, but you're also then showing who they are behind the mask. You see what I'm saying? And they are already an extension of Bray's creation.
Yeah.
So is Uncle Howdy. Uncle Howdy's an extension of Bray's creation. So they all play that role already as it is. So to me, I just feel like you are humanizing them, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but you are humanizing them and you're showing the characters that they play, but you're showing who they are behind these masks. And again, this is just more of the reason why at some point we need to have, you know, the introduction to these other characters and hear from them if they're going to speak at all. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but that's I liked that aspect of it because you're showing the people because they are people, you know, they're behind these characters. So, but it still doesn't diminish the dark and eerie and spooky vibe that they have for this particular group. So that's what I'm getting. And to comment on what you said about them sort of doing more of a theatrical thing backstage, in an arena standpoint, I don't think people necessarily like it's a different vibe. Me being there and seeing what they did there with the whole tape thing and all that, like it's it's I can't describe the feeling. It's a chill in the arena, much like the under. It's the best thing I can compare it to, but it's a chill just like the Undertaker. You know, the lights go out and he makes that slow walk to the ring. There's every wrestler who has faced the Undertaker has described it as one of the best entrances of all time because it's just different. That's the best word I can describe it. It's just different. The vibe of the arena just changes, and that's the same thing I get with this. So you kind of need something you know, from an experience standpoint for the fans in the arena, and then at home, it also resonates even when you're at home because you're watching this. You're like, this is a big moment. Even if they're doing just something small and minute as as the tape thing. Yeah, sure. It's kind of ridiculous because like, okay, you could if he's just gonna send the tape to the back to the production truck and have them play it, what's the point of doing this? It's to give that feeling vibrating off of your screen, and it's to give that feeling physically when you're there. They do that backstage, sure, but what they did on their debut was fantastic because that was their introduction, and their introduction needed to be impactful immediately. So what they did on their debut, great. They do it all the time, eh, it kind of diminishes that. But they need something physical to happen in the ring week by week to keep to you know what I mean to kind of keep that momentum of something important or something impactful happening week by week. So,
Now,
but I get what you're saying though.
we talked about this when they first debuted. We talked about this, and I'd mentioned that I feel like we shouldn't get them every week because they're going to very quickly lose their aura. Like we've gotten for months, we've gotten these QR codes and we've gotten the hints of when we're going to see them. Then we get their debut. Ever since we get their debut, we see them for at least 3 minutes on our screen every Monday night. Now, 3 minutes isn't a lot, I know that. But do you feel like right now we've gotten too much of them at the moment? Like, do you think maybe they should have did this as an every other week type of thing to kind of keep it fresh? Or do you feel like we haven't gotten like too much of them yet?
I mean, I don't think it's to the point yet of getting them too much. Again, like I said, you got to keep it hot. I mean, we had what, 2 months, 2.5 months or so of QR codes,
Yeah.
and there was the complaint of people getting tired of that. So again, you kind of have to keep right now. I think you have to keep them on screen. I think it has to be a week by week thing. It has to be, again, even if it's something very small. And again, that's because, well, right now, on the fast track to SummerSlam, you have to put something together in the ring, and that's the main thing. But I don't right now. I don't think it's too much. I think once you get out every character in the ring at least once, then I would start to like kind of pump the brakes a little bit, because you've seen them in the ring already. You've seen what they can do. You don't
And
need to have them on screen every single week after that, because then to me it diminishes what they've already built up to this point. So,
that's been the big question as of late is like we're seeing all this stuff. Like again, we got the QR codes, we got the aura of that, we got the introduction to them. Now we're getting the videos, these videos the past 3 weeks. The big question is they're doing great right now with what they're doing, but it's gonna all matter when the bell rings. It's gonna matter what they do when the bell rings, because then they got to become real. Right now, they're just this aura of these figures, these beings, these creatures, these characters, whatever you want to call them. That's what they are. When that bell rings, they become real. It's going to be all about how you present them in the ring. I want to throw something out. Okay. I want to throw this idea out. Something I've thought about for the past couple days. Okay. How would you feel as a fan if for at least the first match for each of these characters, okay? Even if it's, Loomis, Joe Gacy, and Eric, say they're together, those three together against three other guys, okay? And then Nikki has her own match against one of the females. And then let's say Taylor in his first match against Chad. How would you feel about them all being cinematic matches for the first match?
I mean, no, just because again, um, cinematic matches, I think, I don't know, they're those matches can really realistically only be used under like heavy circumstances. Like I know Undertaker and AJ had one. But I think that again, that was a different time. We were in the Thunderdome era. So it's under heavy circumstances that I would do.
That was
I know,
the beginning of the pandemic. That was
yeah,
literally
that's what
week
I'm saying.
2 of the pandemic. Like,
Right,
we weren't even in the Thunderdome yet. We were in a warehouse with
right,
matches in front of nobody.
right.
Like,
So that's why I'm saying, like, it's under heavy circumstances, because if that hadn't been the case, you would have most certainly been getting Undertaker and AJ in a physical match.
and Undertaker said
Um,
that, is that if
yeah,
that match would have been in front of fans, if the pandemic didn't happen, it would have just been a match in the
yeah,
ring. And
yeah,
he's been asked, like, would that match been different if it was in the ring opposed to the cinematic thing? And he's even mentioned that, yeah, it would have been different because it would have been a regular match. Like,
yeah.
so we wouldn't have gotten the theatrical, aura of what we got at WrestleMania 37 or 36. I'm sorry, 36, at the Boneyard. So, you know, honestly, as a fan, I'll say this. And we did get a Bray match, like we got a Bray cinematic match, on night number 2 of WrestleMania that year. We did. But we also got another one from him during the Thunderdome with Braun Strowman. And that was at, the compound, at the swamp match. That's what we got. So we got a cinematic match there. So I'm sorry for cutting you off. Go ahead and continue.
But no, we got another sort of a cinematic physical hybrid between Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt another year. And there was like these like images that would pop up that would be projected like on the ring mat or whatever.
WrestleMania 33.
Yeah. And so that was kind of cool. Again, I'm not sure what purpose it really served other than to just be disturbing, I guess, to the viewer. But still it still created a moment, a WrestleMania moment for sure. But for me, again, like I said, if the idea behind this group is that we're getting away from this sort of supernatural kind of thing. So I don't really feel like the cinematic stuff, whatever they do in a cinematic standpoint or a theatrical sense, should all be just something that adds to, for lack of a better word, their aura, or adds to their character, or a video package or something like that. Keep that stuff for that match wise. I'm gonna need them to be in an actual ring. Because I know they can go. Like I know the tag team of Dexter Loomis and Joe Gacy. I think that's going to be a awesome tag team.
Yeah.
Because Dexter Loomis, before getting released or whatever, was really, really picking up steam in terms of his in-ring stuff. They just didn't have anything for him outside of that. Joe Gacy is amazing. People always pay attention to what he does outside of the ring. His stuff. With his character, or whatever. But I think a lot of what he does in the ring is overlooked because he's amazing in the ring. So that tag team alone is going to be great. Nikki Cross has always been great. The superhero thing, they kind of took a left turn with that. I didn't really care for Nikki Cross as a superhero, just mainly because it made no sense and it was out of left field. But we know she can go in the ring too. So like I said, you have a good crop of wrestlers here. So that I need to see them, wrestle. I don't mind them having the gimmick that they have now, but anything theatrical or cinematic that they do, keep that for stuff in the backstage area or their entrance or promo packages and things like that. A cinematic match, I think, is robbing fans of seeing them finally in the ring. So
I mean, another cinematic match we got to from Bray was, again, you said, Randy, the WrestleMania 33 thing. It was a regular match, but we just got those, like you said, the images on the ring mat, of the maggots, the worm, all that stuff.
That's why I said it was like a hybrid.
No. But we did get a cinematic match between Orton and Bray. It was in basically the Firefly Funhouse before the Firefly Funhouse.
That's true.
They were inside of a house that they had a fight in.
Mm-hmm.
And because we've seen it, it was I forget what period. I believe it was I think it was Backlash is what we got it. I think that was the pay-per-view we got it at. And you see Randy Orton in the car in the limo driving to the house, and then he finally pulls up, and then they end up going into the fight, and ultimately that was a cinematic match. But it didn't look as cinematic. It almost looked like a camera was just like following them around. But still considered like a cinematic match in a sense. So
see, they could do something like that. That's kind of old school. So I know, like mid 90s, early 90s. Again, with a lot of Undertaker stuff, they did a lot of that. Like, Undertaker, building caskets, with Paul Bearer in the background, or digging a grave, whatever. They could do that. They could do like I don't know, like a graveyard match, and just have like a camera just following them around at some spooky, dark, at night setting. They could do that. I'd be fine with that. You know what I mean? But a full like 100% cinematic match, not so much. I particularly would want to see them just wrestle a regular match.
I mean, again, like I said, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about, I mean, throughout the whole, wrestling community, wrestle talk community, whatever you want to, call it, of, what's going to happen when the bell rings. That's going to be the big question. That's going to be the big, like, how big can this thing be when that bell rings? They're going to have to really make you believe when that bell rings on this group. And how soon we get that, we don't know. Like we said tonight, could it be as soon as SummerSlam of getting Taylor against Chad? Maybe. We'll find. I'm sure we'll find out in the next couple weeks. We got 3.5 weeks until SummerSlam. They're gonna have to really push this thing the next 2 in order for it to happen. So we'll have to see. One more thing I want to bring up, and this is something that hasn't been talked about. Maybe we start the discussion here tonight when it comes to championships. Now, Nikki Cross is there. Could this lead her? And you brought up the whole thing with the superhero thing with Nikki Cross. I'm going to say this. The superhero thing, to an extent, it was working. I think they for a better wordage, kind of, I'm trying to find the best way to say this. Let's just say this. She won Money in the Bank. She cashed in super early and won the women's world title. And it was on a very short build time with that character. I think that's where they lost people a lot with that character. It was working to an extent. She was winning fans over. But then when she won the world title, that was it. People stopped caring. That's the roads that I'm seeing lead with this group when it comes to championships. Because we've seen it with The Fiend. The Fiend didn't need a championship. Now, was it something cool to see? Yeah. But then when you had him lose it in the fashion he did to Goldberg, that was it. You kind of humanized The Fiend. Now you knew this character can be beat. And it took 2 spears and a jackhammer. And that was it. You humanized a character that could have went so far. Now they have a chance to take characters who, for one, when they were under their regular names or ring names, whatever you want to call them, without this group, not even in title pictures. Nikki Cross, yes. Bo Dallas, won tag titles. But Dexter Lumis, when did he win a championship? Never. Joe Gacy, did he ever hold a championship? No. Eric Redbeard held the tag titles with Luke Harper a couple times. It's going to come down to the fact of, do you put this group in title pictures? Or do you just make them a dominant group? I mean, at some point, fans are going to be thriving and asking for them to be in a title picture. And I'll say this, as a fan, I don't want to see it anytime soon. But I think that they can put it in a perfect position for Taylor to win a world title. Not anytime soon. Build this character up. Build it to the point where he is unbeatable. Put a world title on him. Not anytime soon. But this group at the same time does not need championships. They don't. Because then at some point they're going to have to be beat. And that's where you humanize them. And then they can be beat. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that with them being around championships. I honestly, ultimately don't think they need to be around them. But I could see them putting opportunities in the way to where you could put like a world title on Bo. Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis winning the tag. Eric Redbeard possibly winning a singles title. And Nikki Cross being back in the women's world title hunt.
I mean, it really just it's still so fresh right now. In their early run as a group, so it's really hard for me to say, but ultimately, when I think of championships for this group, it really depends on how it's really presented in a storyline fashion. It has to make obviously it just has to make sense
Oh yeah.
for the time being, because right now that doesn't seem to be their focus. I don't know when it would be their focus, but that's what I mean. Like it has to be something that this group zeroes in on and makes a compelling case, because right now the storytelling that they're doing is phenomenal and it has nothing to do with championship. So to me, what the storytelling they do right now, the storytelling that they're doing right now is more important than a championship right now.
Yeah.
Because and I feel like if any one of these members were to win a championship, or even if Bo were to win a world title, which sounds great on paper,
Yeah.
but it's like you reach that top of the mountain for this group with championships, then what? Where do you go from there?
Exactly.
How do they attack someone else or go after their next target or victim, whatever you want to call it, as a champion now?
Yeah.
You know, like that seems to be their goal. That seems to be their trophy, is going after their victim and then making these eerie, spooky promos and explaining why. But now if they're world champions, it's going to be like that's kind of a reverse of what we normally see. Normally we see the challenger go after them, the said title holder, and give their reasoning for why they want the championship. Oh, it's their destiny. It's their whatever they say in their promo.
Yeah.
So it's like you're going to sort of diminish what they've got going now as them being the hunters, them being the predators, going after anybody in the roster. Anybody's on their hit list right now, to
Yeah.
then being champions and they're the targets. So right now, I would say no, keep them as far away from championships as humanly possible until you make a compelling case. And then not only that, but a compelling case as to like or a compelling direction as to where you go from there if you decide to put championships on them. Because that's going to be the main thing. You have to have a clear cut beginning, middle, end to where you're going to go with Bo being world champ, with Gacy and Loomis being tag champs, even Nikki Cross winning the women's championship. Hell, even if you have Eric win the Intercontinental Championship, there's got to be a clear goal, a clear path. It can't just be these one-off defenses and stuff like that. It's just going to get stale, and that's not going to be good for the overall group.
And again, I'm sorry for bringing it up, but you know dang well in the next 6 months it's going to be
For sure.
Once we start seeing them in the ring and we see the dominance and we see them starting to take people out and everything like that, you know it's going to be talked about.
You can't ignore it.
Oh, winning the Royal Rumble, or Eric winning the Intercontinental title, or this, that, and that. It's like, no, like this group has that aura to the fact, like again, the Fiend didn't need a championship, but we got 6 months into the Fiend, and it's when is he going to get a world title shot?
Yep.
When is he going to have the world title around his waist? Then we got the cool custom title that cost $7,000 when it first came out. You know, it's like, can we not talk about a big group like this being around a championship? Like they don't need it doesn't need to happen. I don't even think in 6 months, hell, even a year, it doesn't need to happen. Let them build a story. Give us something that doesn't have to revolve a world title or an intercontinental title or even the speed championship. I'll go as low as saying the speed title, okay? We don't need it. Let them build a story and let us just be entertained. Because that's what this is. It's entertainment. This is something different. This is different than what we've seen. That it's an extension of what Bray did. I get that. But it's something different. It's something different what we got from The Undertaker. It's something different than what we got from Kane. It's something different than what we're getting from the House of Black in AEW. or any of these ominous, dark being characters that we get in professional wrestling. Let it be something different. Let it just be a story. That's all it needs to be. And that's what they're starting off as. And so far, so good. Keep it up. Don't bring a 10, 15 pound championship belt into the picture. We don't need it. But I brought it up because again, in 6 months, it's going to be brought up. When this group starts dominating people in the ring or in a cinematic match, theatrical match, whatever, wherever they decide to go when the bell rings, it's going to start being brought up. It happens. My thoughts, doesn't need to be around it. I wanted to ask you one more question before we get into the last thing with Monday Night Raw, because we do have one more thing we got to talk about with Monday Night Raw before we close things out with the Raw talk. I wanted to ask you this question. Did you ever get to experience The Undertaker as the Dead Man live?
Yes.
You did?
A few times.
When did you get to experience him?
Oh man, at least twice. This was way back in like once in like 2000. Well, actually, like handful of times, but once I know was like 2006 or so.
Mhm.
And then another time was I think a few years later, back when he had the feud with like Mark Henry. So yeah, a handful of times. So yeah.
Nice. The only time I got to experience him as the Dead Man, it was the year 2020, Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, Philadelphia. He came out, attacked AJ Styles and the Good Brothers, and left. Only time I experienced the Dead Man, Undertaker, in person. All the other times I experienced the Undertaker was Biker Taker, American Badass. That was it. I wish I could have experienced the Dead Man more. But just seeing the Undertaker in person was awesome. Let alone, even though it was a house show and it was on my 16th birthday, I got to see the Undertaker face Ric Flair in person. So that's kind of cool.
That's pretty cool.
Not gonna lie. I got to see the Undertaker and Ric Flair in person face each other. And yeah, some could say it was in a bad time in Ric Flair's career. I don't care. I don't care. I got to see the Undertaker and Ric Flair in person at a house show, non-televised. So it is what it is. We got one more return tonight. We got after the Damage Control taking on Lyra Valkyria and Carter and Chance. We got the return of Sonya Deville, and she wasn't alone. She was with Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Cam, are you excited to see Sonya Deville back and the group that she is in? And your thoughts on this group?
Yes, I'm ecstatic because I said this should have happened already. I don't know what took so long in the first place, but yeah, because like I said, because Sonya Deville is not going to do anything on her own. They're not going to do anything with her. I don't think. I don't know what else they could do with Sonya Deville. Because outside of this is the most noise she has made, and she's been back like a month now, 2 months now or so. And outside of this, it's just been crickets. Like no one in the community is talking about Sonya Deville being back. And ultimately, when I seen her talking to the couple weeks where I seen her talking to Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, I'm like, put them together. Yeah. This will be a great trio. They all are like minded. They're all kind of similar styles. It's
I
perfect
believe we
trio.
seen her talking to Natalia too at one point.
Yeah, we did actually.
Yeah, we did. During the ice cream truck segment with Kofi Kingston and Karrion Kross.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, so I ultimately when I see these three on my screen, I'm like, yeah, put them together because they all have like this similar style. Especially when you're talking about Sonya and Shayna, the MMA background. So yeah, I'm ecstatic for this. I don't know what they're going to be called. I'm curious to see what their name's going to be. Hopefully it's something good. But yeah, no, and I definitely like this. I think, ultimately, I think we have a new Damage Control essentially. with these three, new and improved. And now I think the goal for them, well, for Shayna and Zoe Stark, is get the tag team titles. The honeymoon phase is over with Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. I
Agreed.
get why they won the championships. I understand it. Very rough, tough situation for Alba Fire to be put in going into that, knowing what happened to her family and everything like that. But the honeymoon phase is over now. Now it just they're not even being featured on the show. They're being overlooked by
We've seen them tonight.
Carter and Chance and Lyra and CM Punk. Like, they're being overshadowed by all the bigger names on the brand. Like,
Agreed.
they're not even being featured.
I mean, we've seen Alba Fire and Isla Dawn tonight on screen, but they didn't do much. Like, yeah, they confronted Zoe and Shayna and Sonya, but it wasn't much. It was like, oh, you come on screen, you start laughing, like, ha ha ha. Like,
that's it.
Again, it's like, sorry, like, it was a sad situation. What happened? Realize why they won the tag titles, but now it's like, you're not, again, like you just said, they're not being featured, they're not being shown, and you just started off hot with a 3-woman group that took out a group that earlier in the night said they were about to take over the women's division. And honestly, I'll say this, Cam, I'm with you if they come up with a cool name, but I don't think they need one. In theory, do they need one? Yes, so we can easily call them something instead of saying Zoe Stark, Sonya Deville, and Shayna
Baszler.
Baszler.
Yeah.
It'd be easier, but at the same time, we really don't need one. But if I had to think of one off the top of my head, and I know this sounds very cartoonish and stupid, and yeah, Uncontrolled Chaos.
Oh, I kind of like that.
Uncontrolled Chaos.
I like that.
That's it. There you go, WWE. Uncontrolled Chaos for this 3-woman group. Give you an idea.
I like it.
So I'm liking that Sonya's back. It's cool that she's with Zoe and Shayna. I like the fact that they highlighted Shayna Baszler the way they did, the badass that she is, and the way she pretty much kicked it tonight. And I hope they continue it. I hope this isn't a 1 or 2 week thing. But Cam, your overall thoughts on Monday Night Raw tonight? What kind of grade would you give it? I know we do this at the top of the show. We're kind of flying off the handle at the top of the show tonight. It's all good. Had a lot of fun. But what's your overall thoughts on Raw tonight? What's your grade?
I think before I learned that Rhea Ripley returned, I probably would have given this maybe a D+. Because she returned, I'm gonna say a C-. Pretty much an average, kind of what you would expect Raw. They had a hot streak there for a couple weeks. I think they're starting to come down off that hot streak. So this was your typical basic Raw. But they definitely have their strengths, obviously, in the Liv Morgan thing. Obviously, I think that's still the highlight of every Monday Night Raw. The thing they got going with Dom is great. Now Rhea's back, so it's gonna get even better. The CM Punk stuff is fantastic as well. The Wyatt Six stuff. So like I said, Raw still has very good things going. It's just it's spotty here and there throughout a 3-hour show. So yeah, I'm gonna say a C-.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm with you on the C-. This was a very, for the second time in a row, this was not your typical like post PLE Raw. It was, they got done with the PLE and they really didn't have too much, aftermath from it. Yeah, we got the CM Punk thing, we got the Seth Rollins thing, but after that, nothing. I mean, I guess you can count Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker. We're going to continue going down that road, which is cool. I'm okay with it. But you look at anything else, they pretty much scratch the men's Money in the Bank. And I texted you guys that night. I said it. Men's Money in the Bank match was good. Understood the winner. Okay. We get to the world title match. It was a good match up until the cash-in. Up until the cash-in. They wasted a men's money in the, like they basically wasted a men's Money in the Bank ladder match. In my eyes, as a fan. It was a good match, entertaining, great. They wasted it. I get Drew McIntyre said, I'm going to cash in and win the title that night. I kind of wish they would have went back on that. I wish Drew McIntyre was sitting with that Money in the Bank briefcase tonight. I kind of do. Match of the night for me was the 6-man. That 6-man tag match kind of saved Money in the Bank for me as a fan. It did. I don't know about you, but it saved it for me. Your thoughts? Like,
I mean, well, Money in the Bank was okay. I mean, it didn't necessarily like blow me away or anything like that. But I think there was a lot of hype going into it. It's kind of like the Royal Rumble, Rumble, leading up to it, you're expecting all these surprises and these surprise entrants and things of that nature. Then when you don't really get those, I think a lot of people are left kind of disappointed because it just, it underdelivered. I think it's the same thing here. You wait for these qualifying matches and you're curious to see who's going to be in this match, and then of course you're wondering and predicting for months and months of who's going to win the Money in the Bank ladder match and have that briefcase. I don't want to necessarily they wasted it. I mean, they used it in a way to progress a program going on that maybe right now the company's bigger focus. Maybe they just don't really have a use for a Money in the Bank briefcase holder for the men right now, because there's so much going on. There's so much surrounding both world championships. They don't want to run into another Damien situation where it's like, when is he going to cash in? Is he going to cash in? Is it going to be a failed cash in? The last two briefcase holders, I think, had that major question mark behind them holding the briefcase in Damien and in Austin Theory.
yeah.
And some people still say to this day that Austin Theory was probably the worst one to win that briefcase because it just it wasn't memorable. It didn't hit as hard as some of the other cash-ins.
He won the US.
So yeah, so and like I said, and they managed to salvage what was left of Damien's him holding the briefcase at Mania, and they made it work and they made it memorable. So maybe they just don't have a real purpose for someone holding the briefcase right now at this current moment. Now the to me the big question is, did the way this feud is going right now between Drew and CM Punk, did this whole cash in and CM Punk screwing Drew McIntyre, was that necessarily needed in their feud? Probably not. I'm not sure if I'm, at leisure to really say necessarily. I guess that's not really up for me to, I don't know, say whether it was or whether it wasn't. But, ultimately, I think whoever comes out of this series, because I'm sure you're going to get more than one match between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, they're ultimately going after the world title anyways. So you could potentially be looking at the next world champion, whoever comes out of this feud. So that's, I mean, you could look at it that way as well. But it's I think it's easier for creative to be able to focus on one particular cash in direction, and that's for the women. There's not really a whole lot going on. I mean, you got Liv tied up right now with the whole Rhea thing, but Bailey right now it's real quiet. There's not a whole lot going on, not at all. So I think it's just easier for them to just focus on one briefcase holder rather than two. So
I'm kind of looking at the history, and it says Austin Theory cashed in after 128 days, and he lost his match. So he won the U.S. title in a normal match.
Yeah, I don't know. It's muddy how he won.
Because I'm kind of trying to do.
Because initially I thought he cashed in to win the United States title.
I'm trying to see. Austin Theory Money in the Bank cash in. And I was kind of curious. Did Austin Theory cash in his Money in the Bank? Austin Theory did everything right when he cashed in his contract against Seth Rollins, but it seemed like his luck wasn't on his side. Okay. So he failed cashing in. Austin Theory won United States Championship. Okay. So Austin Theory wins U.S. title. Austin Theory United States Championship. I'm trying to see who he won the U.S. title from. Yeah,
Oh, the U.S. title. I think it was from Seth because it was the whole. I think it was from Seth. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, something like that.
So maybe he cashed in the Money in the Bank on the U.S. title and lost, but then won the U.S. title later? Austin Theory defeated Finn Balor to win the U.S. title. That's what it says. Austin Theory defeated Finn Balor to win the United States Championship. I don't know. I'll have to look this up. We'll have to talk about this another time. But because it said Austin Theory lost his money back. My thing is, though, is I think, honestly, Drew should still be holding the Money in the Bank briefcase. I understand that. I understand what you're saying with the whole, like, maybe there's no purpose for him to hold it right now, that we don't get into another Damian Priest situation. I could see that. But at the same time, I think, say we do get Punk and Drew at SummerSlam. Okay. And that feud ultimately ends there. Drew could have cashed in at SummerSlam at the end of the night. Because when you look at Drew McIntyre and CM Punk right now, it's really like, who wins? You know who wins. Like, I can't even sit here and safely say CM Punk's going to beat him. Because Drew McIntyre is strong right now. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I mean, I can understand it. At the same time, I still have that feeling of like, we got like you said, we got all the qualifying matches. We're sitting here guessing who's going to win. And when we did our show on Tuesday night last week, my thought was like, yeah, Drew McIntyre wins. He's going to get screwed out of cashing in. The picture was right there. And instead of overwhelming us during the men's Money in the Bank of having, the Wyatt Six go after Chad Gable, Logan Paul come in and go after Austin, and going after
Damien.
No, Logan Paul go after LA Knight.
Yeah.
And then CM Punk screwing Drew out of it. You have Drew win, CM Punk screws him out later. And plus, it makes sense because they're kind of, again, mirroring Brett and Shawn, and it happened in Toronto. So, but I gave Raw a C- as well. It was a good show, but it didn't have that typical, post PLE feel in a sense, I guess. But that closes out Monday Night Raw for June. Oh my God, July 8th, 2024 in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. As you guys know, I always pull some new stuff off the internet. Cam, I have some pretty fun ones tonight. Some stuff to actually give some thoughts on. And the first one is another title. Yes, this has to do with another championship. There are rumors that WWE apparently has plans of creating a mid-card title for the women on the main roster. Now, it's yet to be decided whether it's the Intercontinental Championship or the United States Championship. Obviously, in NXT, we see that there's the NXT Women's North American Championship now. Super cool. They have a secondary title after getting rid of the women's tag titles. So, how would you feel ultimately, seeing that we have two women's world titles? How would you feel about having a mid-card title?
It's I mean, I think the idea is good. Uh it's a little scary considering how the women's tag team titles have been done thus far. One minute it's like, oh, they seem like they actually care about these titles. The next minute it's like they don't. So it'll be interesting how they juggle now women's tag team titles with a I guess potentially a women's intercontinental championship. I'm assuming it will be called. Um, if it does actually happen, then I would say they need to have the women's tag team titles mainly featured on NXT, because I think that just gives more room on on the particular program for that particular mid card title instead of them having to juggle both. So, because I feel like they introduced a women's mid card title again, that's just pushing the women's tag team titles further, you know, into obscurity essentially. So, yeah, so it's a good idea. I'm not against it. It's just it's all about how they book it.
I mean, you know me, I'm not a big fan of the 2 world title thing. Never have been. Probably never will be. I'm at the point where I'm accepting it. But I still think they can go back to the days where you have 1 men's world title, 1 women's world title, 1 men's mid-card title. You can add a women's mid-card title. Men and women each get a tag team set of titles. And if I had to bring on 1 more championship just to kind of even things out a little more, a men and a women's television championship. Not the I know the Intercontinental title is very prestigious. I get it. I get the United States title has its prestige of its own. But a television title. And how I would do it is have the television titles across all 3 brands. Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. And obviously the world titles and the other mid-card titles, they can be on all 3 brands. Raw and SmackDown. NXT has their own. Because right now when you look at it, you look at the men's world title. The world title on Raw right now. Who's surrounding it? Damian Priest. Gunther. Because Gunther's the #1 contender. Who else? Because Drew's feuding with CM Punk. Seth Rollins can't challenge no more. Who else? You look at Cody's title. Who's surrounding that? Solo Sikoa. Who else? So why do we have
Maybe Randy Orton?
Maybe. But that's it. You have 2 world titles for 5 guys surrounding. Women's. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley. The other side, Nia Jax, Bayley. And then obviously Stratton with the briefcase. But that's it. 5 women, 2 world titles. You can do all that with 1 championship. They've done it in the past. Rock, Austin, Triple H, Undertaker, Kane. Those are 5 guys that surrounded 1 world championship back in the day. Why do you need 2? I get it, brand split, all that stuff. But does the brand split really matter nowadays? No. Because you're seeing men and women from the other shows going to other shows. We just seen CM Punk on SmackDown 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. So there's really no real brand split if you're going to do that. So again, why have 2 world championships when you have only 5 people surrounding it? But again, I don't like it, but I get it. It is what it is. But I wouldn't be against them making a women's secondary championship on the main roster. I'd be okay with them moving the tag titles down to NXT. I think they need to get back into the groove of having the women's tag team titles on all 3 brands. I think they can go down to NXT right now and work them a little bit more because they're not working on the main roster. Build it up to where they can get back at the main roster. Hell, you can even do a thing to where a set of women tag team can win them down on NXT and build them to the main roster. That's one way to bring 2 women up. Just an idea. Just an idea. Our next one is not a wise man. Yes, this has to kind of do with Paul Heyman, but it doesn't have to do with Paul Heyman. As we know, Paul Heyman got taken out a week ago on SmackDown. He's not on TV anymore. But there's been talk about the possibilities of another wise man coming in, a mouthpiece, and there's been talk about possibly being Rikishi. Rikishi went on to reveal that he cannot replace Paul Heyman as the new wise man. And the reason being is because it has to do with scheduling. Now, if the scheduling was right, then he would definitely fit the storyline, he believes. And he believes he could be the new wise man. But right now, just because of scheduling, he couldn't be the new wise man. Cam, really didn't get your thoughts on this too much. I mean, I haven't heard your thoughts too much on this. Friday Night Review, I know, is the focus around SmackDown. And don't get too much into talks like this because of the focus of SmackDown and everything that happens on SmackDown. So I want to get your thoughts now. How would you feel if Rikishi would come in and be the new wise man?
I think it'd be great because it's that bridge between two different generations, and it makes sense because I mean, like, his son is obviously in it, all of his sons are involved in this particular program, so it just makes sense. uh you know the family centric faction, it just would make sense. Not sure how it would look. I would have to really see an actual visual of him being the wise man and being put in that role in place of Paul Heyman. um Me personally, I think the wise man coming in, that would make even more sense since he was already involved with the previous version of the bloodline, would be The Rock. Having The Rock come in and be the wise man, I think would be awesome. Because again, before I guess Solo is, now parading around as the new head of the table, he was they basically said that he was basically getting like direction or orders from someone, which some of us thought it was Roman, but some people were saying that it might be The Rock. So maybe he's getting these wise words or these orders from The Rock. So I think that would even be an even better option.
So there's been a lot of talk about who Cody might face at SummerSlam. There's been talk about it possibly being Solo Sikoa, which it's leading down that path right now. There's also been rumor of it being The Rock. Now, I know there's been a lot of talk too about The Rock being on a certain type of schedule when it comes to being involved in anything going on in the WWE. I'm going to lay a little perspective out here to make sense for Rikishi. Back in the day, Rikishi took out Stone Cold Steve Austin. His whole thing was, I did it for The Rock. You go back and watch past promos when The Rock was involved with Paul Heyman. The Rock would sometimes give Paul Heyman a certain look. Okay. Now, if you go back and focus on that, The Rock could have went to Rikishi, and here's the little scenario. Could have went to Rikishi and said, look, I'm not liking Paul Heyman. Everything he's doing, everything he's saying, his claims to this family, all that stuff. Rikishi, tell your kid to take care of business. Solo gets the word from Rikishi. Took out Paul Heyman. Rikishi comes out. First night. I did it for The Rock.
I mean, I guess anything's possible,
And not only that, though, Cam, I did it for The Rock. And remember his next saying was, I did it for the people? No. I did it for my people.
Ooh. Okay. Okay.
I did it for my family. And then we get Roman come out. And who's standing behind Roman? The Usos.
Ooh. Okay. Okay.
Thus starting the Bloodline Civil War. The real Bloodline Civil War.
I could see it.
Thoughts?
That's a lot to take in. Yeah, that's definitely interesting. Um, I would wanna kind of slow burn the Usos coming back together. Me personally, just because of everything all the friction and everything they've had with Jimmy and Jay and the battles they've had previously, I would want to kind of slow burn that versus just having them back together um, out of the blue. Because there's an inner story there to building them. Roman, you ain't got to build. They've already been chanting, "We want Roman."
Yeah.
Any day now, he's coming back, and the roof is going to be blown off that place. So you don't really have to do much with Roman. The Usos, it's just there's an inner conflict, there's an inner story of how they get back to being the Usos. Again, like I said, Rikishi's involvement, I get what you're saying. And it's interesting. I would even love to see him be, even if none of that happens, I would even like to see him be like, I don't know, special guest enforcer or something, or a special guest referee, or if scheduling, of course, with him lines up, that would be cool too, because it just makes it for more of a family affair kind of thing. This bloodline, this warfare. So even that'd be kind of cool.
See, but how I would do this is it would all start at SummerSlam with the return of Roman, obviously. Because how I would do this is Solo, sadly enough, taking the title off of Cody at SummerSlam. Okay. And The Rock comes out to congratulate Solo. But then you hear Roman's music hit. And out comes Roman. He's just standing there staring. That's it. And that's how you close out the show. Then you get the SmackDown. Okay. And you see Roman come out, cut a promo. And we're talking, let's say, 2 weeks after SummerSlam. We don't have to do it the week after. 2 weeks later. Give Paul Heyman a little more time to build up. Paul Heyman comes out. I made a phone call, my tribal chief. I made a phone call. And somebody wants to talk to you. Out comes Jimmy. Okay. Jimmy says, I was always behind you. You were always my tribal chief, never had anything against you. Yeah, we had our differences, yada, yada, yada. We're cool. But we can't fight this battle on our own. We have to get somebody else. Then we go to Raw. And we see Jimmy walking around looking for somebody. We all know it's Jay. Jay's not there. Jay had the night off. We get to SmackDown. Throughout the week, I was finally able to find him. We sat down, we had our talk, and we remembered that we are always one. And out comes Jay. We are the ones. They're brothers. I get it. There's that long-term story between them. But at the end of the day, they're twins. They're brothers.
True.
Real life twins and brothers, when they have their differences, they're always joined at the hip no matter what. They're always able to solve their differences very quickly. It shouldn't be anything different between the Usos. They can always, at the drop of the dime, hey, we're brothers. We're able to work out our differences. We're able to fight this fight together. Yeah, that leaves The Rock out of the ring. But you still have Solo. And you have two other guys. Now, yeah, you would need that extra person to kind of be in that fight with Roman and the Usos. And that's where one honorary Us can come involved. Sami Zayn was a big part of that family. Believe it or not, he was a big part of that storyline. And people loved it. And Sami Zayn could become that fourth. And that's where you have Solo and Tama Tonga and Tongaloa and Jacob taking on Roman, the Usos, and Sami. Solo would be the champion. Yeah. Cody. Crazy enough to say, I've been saying it. I think Cody wins the Royal Rumble for a third year in a row. And we ultimately get him taking on whoever the world champion is over at Raw. Because he's beaten the bloodline. That's that. He's beaten Roman Reigns. That was his main objective. He did it. Now he can go over to Raw, win that world title. Because this is where I think Roman gets back to being the champion by beating Solo at WrestleMania. Or, because I know we're supposed to get the Rock and Roman. We'd still get Solo losing to Roman at WrestleMania night number 2. But Roman needs to beat the Rock on night number 1. I know I thought way too ahead there, and I took so much time. I know. And I'm just fantasy booking right now. So I'm sure we're going to get somewhere with this. And but that's pretty much it with Rikishi. I got a little off track. Last one, botched spots. This is something I really wanted to bring up with you, Cam, tonight. This is a discussion I wanted to have with you. Saturday night, we've seen a little bit of a bad spot. Referee going for the 3 count with Seth, missed it. There's been a lot of flack for this. This referee is catching a lot right now. And I came across a I actually got a video tagged to me yesterday. And it's about fans pointing out botched spots. And the person that tagged me in this kind of made a point. Opened my eyes a little bit. Because I'm a fan. I'll sit here sometimes and be like, oh, they messed that up. I'm guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. Kind of opened my eyes a little bit by saying, you know, you don't get in the ring and do this. Why do we have to call these wrestlers out for this stuff? They're in the ring literally putting their lives on the line. Because one bad move, at the drop of the dime, they can get injured and be done with their careers. And it's true. Things are going to get messed up. It happens in all sports. Football, baseball, hockey. Happens in every sport. So why, as fans, do we have to point it out so much when it comes to professional wrestling? So do you have any thoughts on this as it pertains to pointing out botched spots in wrestling?
I mean, it depends, because there's certain circumstances where, because there's something that I learned from the Big Show a long time ago, and he basically said, like, he was talking about wrestlers in general, and things that he's learned, or the number one thing that he's learned in his career is, and that's, if you don't know how to do a move and execute it correctly, you don't need to be doing it. And that always stuck with me. And that was eons ago. That always stuck with me. So in that regard, I don't want to see some wrestler being overly reckless and botching a move and then their opponent getting seriously injured. That's where I'm like, okay, maybe you shouldn't have taken that risk if you couldn't execute it correctly. Other botches, I mean, yeah, they happen. It's wrestling. Like there was another one at Heat Wave where Wesley slipped off the rope when he was going for a springboard, but he kind of just went with it and he saved he saved it. So it's even more prominent with high flyers. you're going to see more botches with it because they go to the top rope so much, and sometimes those ropes are just slippery. Sometimes they lose their footing, they trip, fall off top rope. It happens.
Yeah.
But I think some of us get so involved in this. It's not a bad thing, but it can be a bad thing. But some of us get so involved in the fandom. We get so involved in these matches, and we want them to be good. We want to have good matches and good memories to look back on when we think of these matches. So sometimes when we see really bad botches, it's kind of hard to overlook it, especially again if you're a podcaster who is, like what we do here on, Off the Top and Rivet City Radio, where we break down these matches, we critique this stuff, what's good, what's bad, what's ugly, what's in between. It's hard to overlook that because it's in the match, and it may or may not be, an eyesore of the particular match. So I get it, but there's certain circumstances where it's like, maybe not judge it so harshly. Things just happen. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's professional wrestling. We've seen tons of them through generation upon generations of professional wrestling. So I'm not sure what happened with Damien. I initially thought maybe he got the wind knocked out of him for a second. Somebody else had said in my comment section that it was because of the particular spot he forgot to kick out, and it was literally just designed for the 1-2, and then Drew McIntyre's music hit, and then Seth
Timing.
let go of the pin. He gets distracted by Drew's music hitting. Probably, I don't know. Again, we're not wrestlers. We don't know what was said. An audible might have been called. I don't know, but it happens. It's not like the end of the world, but botches are botches. They're going to happen.
Me and Scows were sitting here watching the show Saturday night, and we were both flabbergasted. We were like, what just happened? That should have been a 3. Rollins' music should be hitting. He should be world champion, right? And then 3 seconds later, Drew's music hits. And it kind of came to our mind like, okay, maybe this was supposed to happen. Maybe Damien was supposed to kick out. It didn't happen, but the timing with Drew's music, we don't know. Like, I was like, holy crap, like this was supposed to happen. But like you said, like it happens throughout the world of pro wrestling. I mean, and one company that gets pointed out for it a lot is AEW, which is really sad. It is, because AEW, we all know, I mean, they're having some rough times right now, but they put on good product overall. They do. AEW is not as bad. It's just that, there's some things that are questionable that people like to point out more than often. And again, it's understandable. WWE is hot right now. It is. I mean, even a Monday Night Raw like tonight, yeah, they're gonna have more viewers than maybe a Dynamite or maybe Rampage or Collision. It's gonna, yeah. But AEW still puts on good product. And it kind of, and again, like I said, I'm guilty of it. Like I've done it. I'm not gonna lie. But at the same time, when I got tagged in this video, I was like, wow, like he really put this in perspective. Like, I really need to really like sit back and really think about. But again, like you just said, as fans, we get caught so caught up in it to the point where we don't even think about it. We just see it, we say it, and we comment. But I think what he means is, yeah, you see it, you call it out, and you comment on it, but it doesn't need to go as far as going all over social media to the point where this company gets pointed out, these wrestlers get pointed out for something that happened that they sometimes don't have control over. You go back to a spot where, Spike Dudley was chokeslam outside of the ring. He was supposed to go through a table, completely missed the table. Head bounced off. The Undertaker, he said in an interview that there was a spot that he did early in his career. He slipped off the ropes. And he was, told that they can fix it, because it was a taping, they can, fix it. And they did. But we're in the day and age of live television now. There's no more, tape and fixing. Yes, some shows get taped and they can do it, but most of the time it's live television. So, I understand the both aspects, his aspect and your aspect. And I agree with both. So, but last thing. Did I delete it? I did. I deleted it, Cam. That's what happens when you're doing things on the fly. Oh man. Final thing on this day in professional wrestling. And we spoke very heavily of the Wyatt Six tonight, especially towards the end of our Raw talk. So this is fitting. On this day, July 8th, 2013, the Wyatt family, consisting of Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and Eric Rowan, made their WWE main roster debut by attacking Kane on Raw. If we all remember what happened, they attacked Kane, carried him to the backstage area, and thus we got introduced to the Wyatt family. There's so much more that happened, but I think we can just end it on that one because that's the more highlighted one. But on this day, the Wyatt family made their debut. So super fitting. Cam, before we close things out, I want to remind people one more time to head over to Rivet City Radio and Off the Top Media's Twitch and YouTube channels. Hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, turn your notifications on. Check out all the great content going on throughout the network. Tomorrow night, NXT on tap. Right after NXT, Wednesday night, right after AEW Dynamite, is The Boom, hosted by Cam. I'm going to be on there as co-host with Phil. And on Thursday, Boss Bitch Trivia. Friday is Friday Night Review. And then Sunday nights is Botch Chair Shots. Sunday morning is Rivet City Red Zone with myself and Johnny H. Really quick broadcasting note, Rivet City Red Zone will not be happening this Sunday. It is my birthday. I'm going to the Phillies game. I'm going to be in Philly. Got to leave at 10 in the morning to be for a 1 o'clock game. So we will not be on this Sunday, but we will be back the following Sunday. Next Sunday, we will be back on, and we spotlighted the running backs this week, Cam. When we come back next Sunday, we will be spotlighting the wide receivers and the tight ends. And what we do, Cam, is we talk about the wide receivers and tight ends that got signed by teams, where they're at now, who we think could be on, for example, with the running backs, we picked our top 5 on who can win the rushing title. So we'll, pick who can win the receiving championship, receiving yards, whatever, between the tight ends and wide receivers. And then we go down the list of players who are going to be available in 2025. That is what we do. So that is what we are doing right now in the Red Zone. So we will be back next week. We will not be on this week. But make sure to head over to Rivet City Radio Off the Top Media's Twitch and YouTube channels. Hit the follow button, subscribe, check out all the great content going on throughout the network. Also, patreon.com/Rivet City Radio. Check out all the great content there. Promise it will not break your bank. Cam, your socials are on the bottom. That is Sean's. Cam, your socials are on the bottom. Make sure to head over to Cam's social medias, hit that follow and subscribe button. Check out everything that Cam is doing on his social medias. What else do you want to let the people know?
Yeah, just check me out every single Monday night on the Table Spot. Obviously with Metalcore Mike and Alpha Wolf Sean. And then again on Wednesday night, right here on River City Radio with the Boom with Metalcore Mike and of course Phil Kahn. And then on our sister page on Off the Top Media for Friday Night Review with me and Scouse.
Alrighty, so make sure you're checking out everything that Cam is doing, especially on his personal social medias. Cam's Wrestling Corner, great videos. Go check them out, share them, send them to all your friends. It is great content. For myself, Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitch, Linktree, Metal Mike 714, not hard to find. Snapchat, day in the life videos. You can see the things that I don't post on Instagram, X, or TikTok. On Snapchat, I post pictures of my dogs, if I take the dogs for a walk, whatever. People setting off fireworks, Cam. I can't. The 4th of July is over. I get it. It's summertime. But when you try and take your dog for a walk at midnight and people are setting off fireworks, he's literally pulling me to come home because he doesn't want to take a walk in the park. Kind of bothers me. I get it. But trying to take a dog. I was kind of a Ken the other night, and one of my neighbors was setting off fireworks, and I yelled. I was like, I'm trying to take my dog to the bathroom. And they stopped for like 5 minutes. So it worked, but hey. But other than that, Table Spot Monday night, right after Monday Night Raw at 11:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Cam and Sean. On the Boom, as Cam mentioned, every Wednesday night with Cam and Phil right after AEW Dynamite, 10:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with Candyman Johnny H on Rivet City Red Zone. As we talk everything professional football, again, we will not be live this Sunday. We'll be back next Sunday morning. Do you have anything else for the class? Do you want to let them know anything else?
That's it.
All right, man. We ran a little late tonight. Conversation was good. Very, very, very fun show tonight. Very fun. With that being said, thank you everybody who checked out the live. If you did not check us out live, thank you for checking out the recording. As I always say, be good to each other, be kind to each other, take care of each other, be patient with each other. Remember, the world is not moving as fast as you think. Until next time, deuces.